Today I'm sharing my top 5 lucid dreaming techniques. So which lucid dreaming technique is best? What's the best way to have a lucid dream? Well, there isn't a simple answer to that question. Some techniques are going to work better for you than they do for me, and vice versa. Different techniques are also more suited to different situations. For the sake of this video though, I'll just be ranking my personal top 5 techniques based on how effective they are for me at inducing lucid dreams. That's really the only metrics I'm going to be looking at, how easily and how often these techniques get me lucid. So without further ado, let's start from the bottom of the list and work our way up to the very best. Number 5, mild or the mnemonic-induced lucid dream. Mild was the first technique that I used to get lucid, and it is still the technique that I advise most beginners to start with. It is a technique that I use today even though I've discovered more effective techniques, I still use mild. And the reason for this is that while it's not the number 1 on my list, it's still very effective, and more importantly, it's very low effort, so you get a really good balance. You're not spending a lot of time on mild other than the stage of getting into REM. The actual technique itself takes like 2 minutes or less. And for what it is, it's surprisingly effective. You know, it's not massively effective, but it doesn't take much effort on your part. Number 4, nap chaining. I debated whether or not to include this in the list, because these days I find it hard to fall asleep during the day, so I don't use this technique much anymore. But when I used to use it, which was quite often, it was incredibly effective. Chaining naps really just requires some free time on your part, and beyond that there's not much real technique necessary to it. So just like mild, it's very easy for anyone to do. This is also the most time efficient method for getting lucid during the day rather than just at night. Number 3, wild or the wake induced lucid dream. Wild is somewhat of the gold standard of lucid dreaming techniques. When I think of someone who's an experienced lucid dreamer and what technique they're likely to be using to get lucid, it is probably going to be wild a lot of the time. And that is because when done correctly, it has an incredibly high success rate, and it's one of the closest to working every time that you do it, if you do it correctly. Now there isn't any technique that gives you, 100% success rate, but wild comes very close if you're good at it. Now for some people, this may even end up being the number 1 technique on your own top 5 techniques. For me, the number 1, number 2 and number 3 spots on this list are extremely close, and I had to spend some time debating what order to put them in as well, because that's how close they were. Now the reason that wild doesn't earn the number 2 or number 1 spot for me is that it requires you to be able to really relax. I'm someone that often has sleep issues and I have anxiety issues. Those two things combined mean that it is very hard to relax enough to perform wild sometimes. Sometimes it works great, but other times, I'm just fidgeting too much, I can't stay still, or my mind just won't shut off and it is hard to perform. So while it's amazing when I'm capable of relaxing fully, when I'm not, it's not. Which means the results that I've got with it haven't been as consistent as number 2, DEILD or the dream exit induced lucid dream. DEILD is very similar to wild. It is essentially just wild, but performed after you've exited another dream. And the other kind of distinction between the two techniques is that DEILD rarely involves you going through sleep paralysis, whereas wild often can, depending on how you do it. It is a lot quicker to perform than wild, and in my experience, even more effective. It is, in my opinion, the closest thing to a 100% successful technique, even closer than wild, although still not quite there. If there wasn't the prerequisite of needing to have had a dream to perform this technique, then I think you could pretty much guarantee a lucid dream with it. Still, while it's an amazingly effective technique, it too hasn't been as consistent or as effective as my number 1 spot. So what is that number 1? That number 1 is meditation. Yes, some of you probably knew it was coming. Meditation, while not strictly something I do for the purposes of lucid dreaming, has brought me more lucid dreams than any dedicated lucid dreaming technique ever has. it has just blown my mind with how effective it is. I have had double-digit numbers of lucid dreams in one night, with my record being 13. All thanks to meditation. It is just incredible, and if you're not meditating already, and you're not getting the results that you want with lucid dreaming, I don't know why you're not meditating yet. You really need to get on it, because it is really, really incredible. And in a way, meditation is like learning to get lucid while you're awake. You're learning to get present, and that is sort of like getting lucid while you're awake. And so this carries over into your dreams. So provided that you keep up with regular meditation, these benefits only stack and increase over time. It's like this snowball effect where the longer you've been meditating, the more often you meditate, and the longer your meditation sessions are, the more benefits you get to your lucid dreams. And you keep at it and you just get more and more dreams over time. Now, I do still recommend combining it with at least one other technique on my list for best results, especially if you're new to lucid dreaming and new to meditation. Because if you've never had a lucid dream before and you're just sitting down to meditate for the first time, then I don't think, your first week of meditation is suddenly going to start giving you tons of lucid dreams. I think this comes with a bit of experience with lucid dreaming and a bit of experience with meditation first. But provided you dedicate that time to it and keep up that practice, both of lucid dreaming and of meditation, I think meditation is the most powerful technique there is, hands down. Now, if you don't know how to do any of the things that I mentioned today, whether it's meditation, DEILD, wild, nap chaining or mild, then don't worry, because I have guides for every single one of those things on my channel. I also have a complete crash course that covers absolutely everything that you need to learn to lucid dream and then basically do whatever you like in those dreams and have complete control over them. If you want to check out that course, there'll be a link to it in the top right hand corner and down in the description below. Anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and enable notifications so you stay up to date with my videos. And if you want to keep watching, check out one of the videos on screen, go watch that, and I'll see you soon. Take care.